Welcome to the This Day program for this Monday, November 7th. I'm Paul Ortiz, filling in for vacationing Lisa Hart for this rainy Monday. And today in our program, we'll be talking to GRF Director Elsie Addington. She's going to be telling us about some of the wonderful things that the Golden Rain Foundation is working on, and of course some important things that they're working on, especially when it comes to a 28-day notice. Also, we'll be bringing RadNet to you, and they're a longtime supporter of Village Television. And Lisa had a chance to talk to some of their representatives, and we'll be talking about what their efforts are, especially how they can help you in your community. Well, let's take a look outside. It's good. Actually, let's talk about some meetings that we're going to have for today. That's going to be at 1:30 this afternoon. That's the third Maintenance and Construction Committee. You can attend that live right here in the community center. Just come on over to the boardroom located on the first floor, or you can also go to your LagunaWoodsVillage.com website and watch it virtually. So that's going to be at 1:30 this afternoon if you're watching our morning or our lunchtime program. Now let's get outside. It looks like it's going to be a pretty rainy day. We had some quite a bit of rain overnight, and it's just more of a kind of a steady drizzle. So temperatures are going to be about 61 degrees. 53 overnight tonight, and then a little cooler temperatures for the next couple of days, 58 tomorrow and 51 overnight. Tomorrow, actually, they're talking about some pretty heavy rain tomorrow, so if you have things out in your patio, anything that you obviously want to keep dry, you might want to bring that in if you haven't done so already. And then as Wednesday approaches, looks like it's going to start to warm up pretty nicely. And then by the weekend, we have some nice temperatures, 62 on Thursday, kind of cooler overnight though with that 49. And then on Friday, it's going to be mostly sunny, beautiful temperature, 65, 51 as we start to approach that fall time. Let's take a look at our sunrise sunset. You know, we had that daylight savings change yesterday. So sunrise today was at 6:15 a.m. and this afternoon it'll be at 4:53 p.m. Kind of strange how it gets dark so early in the evening now, but beautiful sunrises and sunsets the last couple of days. Let's also give you some information that we want to share with you. We want you to stay informed. Obviously, tomorrow is Election Day. You can go in person to Laguna Woods City Hall. That'll be open at 7 o'clock tomorrow morning, and polls will close at 8 o'clock. So you also can mail in your postmarked ballot. That's going to be needed to be done by tomorrow, November 8th. And you can also go to ocvote.gov to get any information regarding the election tomorrow. So be sure you can get out there and vote. It's important. And you can be there over at City Hall at 7 o'clock. Hey, also honoring our veterans. That's going to be on Friday, November 11th. That starts at 10 o'clock. And that is at Clubhouse 2 in the front patio. And our wonderful American Legion Post 257 will present colors and serve light refreshments. Be sure and get out there and represent, you know, all of our wonderful veterans who have helped support not only our community, but our country throughout the years. So that's going to be at 10 o'clock, Clubhouse 2 out in the front patio. Hey, we're going to be right back with Elsie Addington, and she can be telling us about some of the activities that the Golden Rain Foundation is up to in the next few months. Don't go away.
Achieve a level of comfort you've never known before. The Daydreamer will take you through smooth movements and guide you effortlessly into your favorite positions. Adjust the power pillow for ideal support for your head and neck. This and our positioning technology allows for infinite relaxation. Lay back in zero gravity while watching TV and put your body and mind at ease. Lift your spirits and find your favorite daydream. Contact your local Golden retailer today.
We are the first light after a cancer diagnosis.
The illuminated entry point to life-saving cancer therapies and novel treatments
often sought by the rest of the world.
We are a dedicated team of more than 400 physicians
and 1,000 scientists and researchers.
We are cancer-focused, but human-centric.
We are thousands of breakthrough discoveries.
We are where cancer stops.
And life keeps on getting lived.
The future of cancer treatment is here.
Cheyenne's hallmark in Laguna Niguel is now an Elam's hallmark, and we are excited to be part of your community. We have just remodeled, and you will be surprised by the wide variety of fashion and accessories, home decor, collectibles, Disney, Peanuts, Harry Potter, and Star Wars, along with the largest Hallmark card selection in town. Stop in today and sign up for our Crown Rewards program and get a free Just Because card. Once a member, you can get a free card once a month. Elam's Hallmark, your neighborhood gift store.
Are you struggling to hear in your noisy dining room? Do you have to pause and think about what people are saying so you can figure out the words? Do you find yourself lost in conversations? Can you hear but you don't understand the words people are saying? You need to get on the Ark. No, not Noah's Ark. This is Stewart's Ark hearing aids with artificial intelligence. You will never know how much better you can hear until you listen to the clear sound and noise right in our office. Call us today. Don't miss the boat and tell them Stewart sent you.
Time to play by your own rules. It's out with the old way of getting older and in with the new age of celebrating your age. At Alignment Health, senior health care is all we do. Our Medicare Advantage plans are leading the charge, so you can be the one in charge.
I love being in charge.
Because life should be a celebration, not a resignation. Welcome to a new era of aging. Alignment Health Plan.
Joining us now on our program is Elsie Addington. She's with the Golden Rain Foundation, and they meet on the first Tuesday of each month right here in the community center, and it's also live here on Village Television. Thanks for joining us this morning. Kind of a rainy day out there getting to the community center.
I was surprised. It was so beautiful last evening, and the sky was blue, and the sun was going down, and then this morning everything was really wet. But as
we could use the rain though, right?
Yes, exactly. Any kind of rain is good for me. I grew up here, and to this day, it starts to rain, and I usually go running outside just to feel it, you know?
Yeah. Now, you have a couple things you want to discuss regarding some activities that the Golden Rain Foundation is in the process of.
I do. As a thank you, as you know, we had is that the camera?
That's your camera.
Well, as you know, we had our meeting on the 1st of November, and just a few days ago. So one of the things we talked about, this is kind of an extra thing I wanted to add in here. We talked about defunding obsolete GRF projects. And what that is, a lot of people don't realize we do this, and we don't do it. Staff does it. Once a year, they go over the budget. Included in that is a project log, is one of the places we pull facts from for our budget. And we put aside, you know, like any budget, you put aside this amount of money for groceries, and you put aside this amount of money for a new car, and this amount of money for whatever. And then on an annual basis, we go over these project logs, which of course are not groceries and cars. They're actually lots of vehicles and roofing and clubhouses and lots and lots and lots of projects. And we go through, and if something has either the project's fallen through for some reason, or it turned out it wasn't as necessary as we thought it was, or it came in a lot cheaper than we thought it was, but we still have money set aside for that project. For whatever reason, we go through, and staff points these things out, and the board studies them, and we defund the obsolete GRF projects on an annual basis. So a lot of people don't realize that those projects don't just stay on there for years and years and years. Right. They get reviewed every year. And some things obviously are going to stay on there. Right. Roofing, allotments, and painting, stuff like that, that's going to stay on.
And I'm sure a lot of that is discussed at the committee level, because I'm sure maintenance and construction, the community activities committee, they seem to have a lot of projects in line. And as those projects disappear for whatever reason, then they clearly would tell their members that, hey, this is no longer going to be progressed through our usual chain.
Absolutely.
And it kind of just clears the deck for a little bit.
And then it finally gets up to the big board. You're absolutely right. It goes through the committee process, and then it comes up to the big board. And there was obviously no objection on the first to defunding those obsolete projects. Now, this is the real stuff, and this is pretty exciting. So under unfinished business, we had, beautiful, we entertained a motion to approve the Garden Center operating rules. And there was actually, this has been going on for about a year at least. And we had but we finally got an August initial notification, but then it was revised in September. Then it was postponed. Then there was a 28-day notification and for member review and comments. And so finally, on the 1st, we approved the new Garden Center operating rules. So that was a victory. And just to get it finished, that was good. Had a lot of input on that one. And then, let's see, okay, under new business, we entertained a motion. This is worded funny, but that's because it's in legalese, all right? We entertained a motion to approve religious church club request for exception to clubhouse holiday hours. Whew. Because it turns out that January 1st falls on a Sunday.
Okay.
And a couple years ago, we passed a thing, holiday rules, not holiday rules, but holiday hours for staff. Yeah, and it's pretty much that staff wouldn't be here for certain big holidays, which is appropriate. July 4th, Christmas, you know, the biggies. Well, New Year's Eve is a real biggie, and it falls on a Sunday this year. So there was a move, but then you get into, well, we have several churches here, so if this church wants an exception, don't we have to give an exception to everybody? Well, on the one hand, but should it be volunteer people that work or not volunteer? It has to be staff. We have to have a minimum number of staff there. And then and this just went on and on and on. And so for this year only, we've, and then we're going to figure it out. Obviously, we need a policy. We weren't looking at that. It's every 7 years, I think, or something like that, that New
falls
Year's
on those days.
Yeah, exactly. And so we want to get ahead of that. And so we're going to make a policy that's more inclusive. But for right now, we granted their request. We figured out all the overtime, how much the extended fee would be. And so that's what that's all about. Whew, it was a big deal. It sounds relatively easy, but there's more aspects than you might want to think to some of these. So one of them was, the next one was to entertain a motion to approve the Equestrian Center operating rules. And now this one was a lot more manageable. This one was a November initial notification, and it was pretty much, here's the rules, and everybody agreed with them pretty much. And so that is on 28-day notification as well. I think it says on the, yeah, it is.
Right.
Well, the religious one's on 28. No, the religious one got approved. I think that one did not go on 28-day. No, well, now we have a, I don't know if that was on 28 days or not.
Right.
I guess it was on 28 days. But it says, anyway, doesn't matter. I'm good. So the Equestrian Center operating rules, no problem. A motion to approve the Equestrian Center horse boarding agreement. Now this is something, I'm not sure if they had an old agreement, but if they did, it wasn't anything like as comprehensive as this. And we had, it's well written, it's really nice. And it's just, these are the conditions for boarding your horse at the Equestrian Center.
Yeah, and there's about 35 horses over there.
Oh, a lot, yeah, I think something like that. And they don't call it a herd for nothing. Excuse me, only they're owned by a lot of different people. GRF owns a few of the horses over there. Yeah. They were donated to us or whatever. So anyway, the horse boarding agreement looks at everybody and considers the rights and of everybody and the responsibilities of everybody, and it is pretty comprehensive. And the last one I got on here, good, is the Garden Center fees increase. If you remember, you must remember, A few months ago, we finalized the increased fees for the golf course, and then the next one on the list, we've directed staff. Our treasurer has he's really a process man, and he's developed a process for addressing fees on X number of years basis. I'm not sure, and I don't want to say on TV but it's
right.
it's obtainable. Yeah. There's common sense to it, and anyway, so now it was the turn for the garden center people, and they've had a little bump in their fees. It looks like a big bump, but the fee's still fairly small. I don't have the list with me, but
Right.
I think it's a $15 increase per annum, so that's a little over $1 a month. Yeah.
Right.
Now, percentage-wise, that's a big bump because it went from 57 plus 15, and that's a big bump.
Right.
But
That
again,
is, yeah.
it's all been looked at, and the percentages, and there's logic to all of it. And that's and all of those were passed unanimously. We have a
Right, and that's why it's so important that our members, attend not only their condo and co-op association, but that they also are at the Golden Rain Foundation meetings, which are held on Tuesdays, the first Tuesday. And you all get, have your input regarding this. And of course, we've seen that, right? When well, usually when golf fees go up, the room gets filled up in some other popular amenities. But it's important that we have that interaction with the members.
Oh, it absolutely is important. It absolutely is important. And we just go back again, and we just go back again. And nobody can make everybody happy all the time, but we can certainly try.
Absolutely.
And that interface is very important.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much for joining us today on the program. We know you have a lot of hard work in front of you, and we're looking forward to the new year in 2023. And we'll see you again here on Village Television.
Well, I hope so.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, you bet. Hey, don't go anywhere. We're going to be back with Lisa Hart and some information regarding RadNet.
Who is RadNet? You've probably heard our name and seen our commercials, but you still might not know who we are. RadNet is the largest provider of outpatient imaging services in the United States, with over 8,000 employees and almost 400 imaging centers in 7 states. Likely, if you have had diagnostic imaging, you have experienced RadNet's high-quality, cost-effective imaging services. With 35 years of expertise, RadNet is leading into the future with advanced technology and the very latest AI technology. We are positioned for the future of healthcare. RadNet, leading radiology forward.
Welcome back. Well, today I am joined by Doug Phillips, who is a patient of RadNet, and he had the Tulsa procedure. Well, welcome, Doug. How are you today?
Doing great. How are you doing?
Very good. And I'm really happy that we got to talk with you. We talked to Paul Colacchio before, and evidently you are the first patient of RadNet that's been interviewed here. So I love it in regards to, of course, the Tulsa procedure. But before we really get talking about the procedure and diagnosis, tell me a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm 69 years old. When I had the procedure, it was a few months ago, I was 68. I'm an executive at a outdoor furniture business. And I was diagnosed with first stage prostate cancer earlier at the end of last year.
The end of last year. Would you say you're a pretty active person?
Yes, very active.
Okay.
I exercise regularly and travel and.
Okay. And I ask that because I think a lot of people think, oh, it's not going to happen to me, right? I mean, we're very active. We do lots of things. We watch our food intake and all these other things, yet you can still be diagnosed with something like this. So that's why I wanted to know what your background was. And you said you were diagnosed late last year.
Yes.
How did you feel when it's stage 1? So thank goodness it was caught at that particular time.
Right. Yeah. I didn't feel anything. It was just the concern about my PSA level fluctuating in a way that my GP didn't like. So he sent me to a urologist who kind of looked after me for a couple months and decided that we should do a prostate MRI, which I did. And that showed that I had a couple small spots. And then they did a biopsy on those. And that's when it became apparent that it was malignant.
Wow.
Yeah.
Was it shocking to you?
Well, not 100% because I have a family history of prostate cancer.
Okay.
So I watch, I've been monitoring my PSA levels for quite a while. And so it wasn't an utter shock.
So when you found out, and then obviously there were next steps that you went through in deciding on whether or not to go through with the procedures and things like that, how did that process go?
Well, my urologist told me, the different options. One was to have the prostate removed. And then the other would be to just kind of monitor it and watch it over time. And then he mentioned to me that there's a relatively new procedure called the Tulsa procedure, which in my case could just pinpoint the exact spots, and they call it ablation. And it's called transurethral ablation. So they go in and they ablate or burn the spots away.
Right.
And I was very happy to hear that it could be a partial ablation, that they didn't have to ablate the entire prostate gland.
Okay.
Which was also an option. But in my case, they recommended just the partial ablation and then to watch it. So I was very pleased to know that there was a less invasive alternative.
And then you were out for that procedure?
Yes, you're put under anesthesia for the procedure.
Okay. And then what was your recovery like?
It was very fast. It was an outpatient procedure. I went home the same day. I had to wear a catheter for approximately 10 days, which wasn't that bad. And then I went back to the urologist. They took out the catheter, and that was the end. Now they just monitor my PSA level, and then a year from the procedure, I'll have another MRI, and then they'll see that how everything's looking. But normally the prognosis is very good with this procedure. They don't see recurrence, especially when you catch it in the early stages. So that's what I'm hoping for.
Exactly. Now, you mentioned you were probably laid up for about 10 days because you had the catheter. So immediately after the catheter was removed, were you able to resume all of your normal activities?
Actually, I wasn't laid up at all because with the catheter, you can walk around and they give you the kind that you can be mobile with. So I just was back to work the next day.
Wow.
Yeah, there was no recovery at all.
Wow.
Yeah, I just had to take some pills.
Right. Isn't it great though? I mean, I think technology has really made so many strides, and we're certainly benefiting from that right now with, especially since you were diagnosed at an early stage, which I know the Tulsa you can only use, I believe, at early stages. You can't use it once you're past a certain stage. So thank goodness you guys caught it. You were obviously aware that you had it in your family. So, good for you and your doctor to be able to get to it right away.
Exactly.
That is awesome. So now, would you recommend other people look into this if they're also in the same situation?
Oh, absolutely, because it's the least invasive procedure you can have. And, as opposed to surgery, which is, the removal of the gland. And then that has all kinds of side effects. When you have this procedure, you can resume a normal sex life. You can don't have urinary issues that often happen after surgery. So I would highly recommend it.
That is awesome. Well, congratulations to you.
Thank
and
you.
Good luck on the rest of the year until next year. We're hoping that it still maintains a negative aspect.
I agree. Thank you very much.
All right, Doug. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me.
All right. And if you want more information about the TOSA procedure or any of the procedures or treatments that RadNet has, you can always go to radnet.com. We'll be right back.
What a great day to stay inside and watch one of our movies. We'll have that on at 2 o'clock this afternoon. That's going to be Moneyball, and starring the popular Brad Pitt. And this is the story about Billy Beane. This is actually a true story, and it's actually not just about baseball, but it's also the wonderful story between a relationship of a father and daughter. So Billy Beane, he's the general manager of the Oakland A's, and one day he has this epiphany, and he changes baseball's conventional wisdom and thinks it's all wrong, and he starts to fight and face a tight budget. But he reinvents his team by outsmarting the richer ball clubs. And he had this kind of algorithm back in before this even became known, but he actually started looking at all the statistics of many of the players and thought, where could I get value and then have them perform? It's a wonderful story. That's going to be about 133 minutes long this afternoon, and that is sponsored by Memorial Care. So we thank them for helping us out with that. Let's go outside real quick. It looks like it's still pretty drizzly. Looks like some of that cloud cover will last throughout the day, and from what I'm hearing, it's actually going to rain even harder throughout the evening and throughout tomorrow. So looking at some pretty heavy rains. If you're traveling anywhere on the freeways, be sure and give yourself enough time to get to your location safely. But it looks like rain for the next couple of days, and then Wednesday we're going to see some nice sunny skies, and it'll warm up throughout until we get to the weekend, and hopefully we have a beautiful Veterans Day weekend, which is going to be on Friday. So for those of you, be sure and get out to Clubhouse 2 out there on the patio and support the American Legion Post 257, and they're going to be out there at 10 o'clock on Friday, Veterans Day. Well, I thank you for joining us on our program for today. Lisa Hart should be back tomorrow, and we'll see you again next time right here on Village Television.
Treasures within the walls of Laguna Woods Village. The foundation of Laguna Woods Village is one of them. Nowhere in the nation has a community embraced a commitment to assist its own residents with temporary emergency support. Since 1997, the foundation makes that support available through donations by individuals, clubs, organizations, and bequests. Help the foundation to help the real treasures within the village, our friends and neighbors.
At Genesis Medical Center, our goal is to treat chronic conditions with a traditional and holistic approach to get the best results. We created a program we call Diabetes Reversal, targeting people with prediabetes and chronic diabetes. The patient is closely and personally monitored. We check parameters, blood sugar monitoring, A1C, cholesterol, high blood pressure, and weight. We offer natural supplements, and we will hopefully decrease the amount of medications you're currently taking. We teach lifestyle modifications, increase confidence, and control the disease.